Hello, everybody. I am going to play a recording that I had sent to a brother in Christ about what the Lord was speaking to me about love and suffering. And the reason I'm recording this onto a YouTube video is because this particular brother had said that I have listened to this, I don't even know how many times in a row, and it is just so good. And there's things that you say in here that you didn't say in your other video, as the Lord was, leading and speaking, and that it's absolutely and I believe this is what he's meaning, that it's absolutely revolutionary or in his life, meaning changing different understandings of revelation and perspectives, and really beneficial. So he keeps saying, please record this again, because I would like to listen to it myself many times and let it soak in, kind of layer it in. And so I said that I would play it again, and I would listen to it, and then I would record it for everyone here to glean from it how you will. These are the things that the Lord has spoken to me personally, pertaining to why I'm walking through what I'm walking through. And I think that it could benefit others. So I'm going to go ahead and play the clip now. It's a 13-minute clip, so this won't be a very long video at all, but these are some of the things that the Lord has spoken to me about pertaining to suffering, and why His hand is in suffering, and His love.
I'm outside walking, so it's hard for me to read, but I can hear messages. I was like standing under a tree in the shade to read, because it's actually like almost 60, and I'm like waddling around the paths enjoying my day. But yes, even Margaret and I were talking last night about, she said, I was listening to some of the videos that you put out lately, and she said that she was taken into a vision or experience or something with the Lord as well, about how suffering is love. And I can't remember the details to which she was talking about that, but it's very similar through that vein. And obviously what he's been talking to me about, that I don't think you guys understand. My point is not to make you comfortable in the earth, he said to me. My point is to return you to my image, because in this earth realm, where you have an adversary, where you have someone who is seeking to destroy you in every way, we do better when we're in alignment. And in the areas we're not in alignment, sometimes when my light comes in and has to shine on things, you all either don't see those things, or when you see them, don't do anything about them. Like when people get convicted and then they stay in their sin. And so he said, through this process of suffering, I reveal things to you that you couldn't have or wouldn't have learned fast enough to make these changes in your life. And he said, and here's the kicker. When I use Satan to sift someone, because I'm going to use him as the rough-edged sandpaper refinement process as you're being sifted, when I allow him to do these things, I've allowed his hand over your life for a reason, because my hand is over his hand. Just like Job, I permitted him so much and no more. And he said, in that process, it's less about me knowing what caliber man you are in the end and where I'm taking you, and more about you guys learning the process yourself of where we stand and what caliber man you are inside with me. And so he said, you'll never come into your full potential if we never have anything to overcome. If I never put any kind of opposition in your life, you can never be an overcomer. If I never give you an opportunity to walk disciplined and practice these things, you will never have an opportunity to show yourself and me what is inside with the both of us in there. You'll never have an opportunity to come into agreement with me in the spirit realm and my will and my person if you're not tempted to walk carnally and respond in the old way, with an opportunity to now respond in the new way. And he said, when I offer all that to you through using Satan and using these refinement processes of suffering, He said, when no wall can be created between us, when no separation can occur, and no matter what you go through, like for instance me, absolute loss of teeth, ability to digest food properly, swelling beyond understanding, inflammation so bad that I can barely get from a bed where I write with him to sit down in a chair to record it. So these Zoom meetings it's me tackling an enemy every single time just to be on the call with the amount of pain that I'm in. Through all those circumstances that he blesses me with, that he offers to me in these ways, I see what perseverance is. I see how he shows himself strong in me, in my life. I see what caliber man the two of us are together. I see what the priorities are. I would have never known my true identity or his true strength in my life where I am weak and he can lift me up and get me through these things. I'm never going to grow if I'm never put against a resistance. These are the things I'm learning about love. He said, you have such a 1-inch deep superficial understanding of what love is in your realm. You equate it to some sort of affection, and that's it. Or even sensual physical things, that's not it. Or even niceness. It's not one of my fruits of my spirit. He said love is often difficult and deep and painful because it's part of a process of his person to reveal these things within us that are there, but we can't see them. When we don't know our true identity, nor his, nor walk in it, or see the hidden things that are underneath. All of these refinement processes that he puts us through of sifting, pruning us, etc., and so on. All of these are blessing opportunities because they more quickly reach us to understanding our true identity in a land that is seeking every second of the day to destroy us. On the other side, could he do it much differently? Yeah, we have no opposition. We have no resistance. When we have resistance, he said, love requires a depth of passion that will go beyond just making things comfortable for my children. It goes into the area of I weep for the things that I have to put into your lives, but I see how quickly it'll work for you. I see how quickly it'll bring you around. I've watched him cry time and time again, and he said, this is what he says to me: it is so very difficult to be me in your life. And he said it in different words several times. What he means is I watch him weep for what he has to leave on me and allow me to go through, because in that process, I become the man that he's creating me to be, or created me to be, and is cleaning me up and is helping me recognize who that is. And I watch us plow through these traps, like these snares that are set up to take me down. Well, you could curse him at any point, curse God and die. You know, you could turn your back on him. You could not go into the secret place anymore and go into a false refuge and hide. Nope. He's like, I'm watching us plow through these obstacles that the devil is setting up for you, whilst he's doing everything he possibly can to hit your spirit, your mental, your emotional, your will and decision making, and your body. He's like, I have allowed him to put you through the mill, quite literally, in every arena. And yet, my love is proved for you in who we are becoming, and your love is proved for me in whom we are becoming, realizing we are. And so I have been learning very much that if a man shucks his cross off, because to me, a cross, when we think about a cross with Yeshua hit every gambit. It hit every avenue. It hit every single facet and path it could go down. It hit mental, spiritual, emotional, will, tempted by his will to do certain things, physical. It took on the full gambit. So if we're actually going to carry a cross and share in his cup, the whole cup that God gave him in a blueprint or an outline, we're going to be hit by every avenue. And he said, to those who have not been hit in these ways, they will be. If they're wanting to walk the closest path with me, they will walk the path of the sun. I've talked to him many times about, man, it don't seem like so-and-so is going through it like I am in this way. And he said, well, be sure that you don't know everything about someone's life, but also be sure that what I do to one on this path, my path is the same, I change not. It will happen to them, and they should prepare themselves to be tested in every arena. Because it's very easy to he said, get diagnosed with, say, a terminal disease, and then go, what? I have never been sick in my life, hardly ever, and I've got this. Why? I take care of my body, right? That's tempted by the circumstances to curse God and die, turn your back on him and allow a wedge to be there, right? And I've come to the understanding that it doesn't matter what happens to me, period, in this temporal realm. And my temporal realm, I mean my this whole existence here, all of it. It doesn't matter what happens to me. It's not about me, and I'm learning that more and more every day. It's not about me. It's about, can you spend and be spent, for me, Janet, in time and space? Because you got all this on the other side, and you know that. And you got me in full, man, here or there. What are we going to walk out in this realm? Because he shows me oftentimes what you'll walk out in this realm, in the case of a cup of suffering and refinement, looks like an iceberg that's going to be tipped at some point. When it tips over, he said, where it looked like just the tip of the iceberg, there's this whole foundational development going on that you're going to with me walk out, where I get to manifest myself in all the freedom ways that I want to, not being boxed in. So I'm realizing freedom comes with all these things. It seems like I'm in bondage. It seems like I'm in a prison. It seems like I'm being put through the mill. Yes, 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 and yes, he said. Absolutely, he's been allowed to touch your life, quite literally. And he said, at the same time, he said, you're also plowing through in victory after victory after victory, not allowing any of this to have any bearing on our inner relationship or your inner man's development, though your outward man and your outward life circumstances cause you to it appear as if you're perishing in every way. Your inward man is being renewed. And when I say enough, like I did with my son, you will walk out, you will decree a thing, and it will take place, because you and I will have developed such a stellar bond inside, such a stellar as one, in agreement, no matter what, because you see through it now. You're seeing through this, that it's a setup. It's a setup, and it's set up in your favor. Walk this out, child. Finish it out till I take your cup from you and you're glorified. Walk it out, because they're terrified that you even know that much now, and that you're going to spread it. And they have tried every way they possibly can to stop you, but they can't stop me, child. We're one. They can't stop me. So they can try, and they can do what they're going to do, and I'm going to use it all for our good, because you're going to turn around and teach everyone this as you walk out what you decree it so shall be. Because the two of us became one. You will walk out my perfect will. That is why we go through suffering, and that is why it is love. Because isn't love, ultimate love in this realm, to be walking with our God, same as like, and allowing him to manifest himself through us and do his work to reconcile a wayward man and lost world to himself? It's the epitome of it. So whatever it takes to get there, absolutely. A cup of suffering is exactly what I asked for, because I simply asked for it in a mild ignorance, knowing that it would be suffering, clearly. But I did it only because in the beginning, because that's what he did. That's what he went through it. I was going to walk in all his ways, period. Now I see the beauty in it, because it was willing. He's such a gentleman, you know. He'll put people through what he's going to put people through in general. But when you say yes, and you know what you're saying yes to a degree of suffering, because there's something in it. You may not understand it, but there's something in there that speaks to you, that says that is the best thing for you. You couldn't say anything. You couldn't agree to anything better than that. Even though you're going, my flesh, everything in me says, don't you say that to him. And yet, when we do, he goes, now I have a vessel unto honor that I can strip and empty and show them that at the core, it's me and you. It's me and you, babe. Meaning, I always had you made in my image. You were always like me. Now that we're getting back to the nuts and bolts of it, and our foundation, we're erecting and building with scaffolding this foundation that is rock solid. You and I are in agreement on all these things. You even understand why I put it to my son in suffering, and how that taught him obedience. And not only obedience teaches you oneness. Obedience, you obey the will of the Lord. When you do that, you have come into agreement with the will of the Lord. When you come into agreement with the will of the Lord, no matter what it is, you and I won, because that was my dream all along. So yes, Doug, I am learning very much that this cup of suffering this cup that he drank from, he will offer that to those who will say, yes, you want to be that close to me? You want to go the walk that I walked? You want to walk in all my ways? All my ways. I will let you drink from my cup. It is a huge honor to go through that. And it is huge love on a level that humanity in the world cannot understand, because they are spiritual concepts understood by the Spirit. But it is a beautiful thing He's stepping me into understanding.